Something truly disturbing has just been revealed. Government auditors have uncovered an alarming case of widespread fraud involving personal identity information, and it happened right under the noses of multiple federal agencies. This isn't a case of one or two bad actors slipping through the cracks. This is massive. The scale is almost hard to comprehend, and the worst part, the money is gone. Today, we're breaking down exactly what happened, who was responsible, and how this affects every taxpayer and benefit recipient in the country. What we're about to explore may leave you stunned, and it raises critical questions about how our most essential programs are managed. Back during the pandemic, government officials rushed to roll out several emergency relief programs designed to help businesses, unemployed workers, and families in financial distress. While the intentions behind those actions were noble, the execution left huge gaps. Speed was the priority. Verifying applicants thoroughly was often secondary. And that's when the fraud began to creep in. Millions of applications flooded the system almost overnight. Without enough personnel or tools to carefully verify each one, many were approved with little to no oversight. The problem wasn't isolated to just one program. Multiple relief efforts were affected. The largest hits came from three major areas: support for small businesses, support for employees, and enhanced income assistance for those out of work. These programs combined processed tens of millions of applications, but buried among them were fraudulent submissions using stolen or mismatched personal data. It's now confirmed that a significant number of these submissions used Social Security numbers that didn't belong to the applicants. The result? Benefits were paid out to individuals who never should have received them in the first place. To get a clearer picture, investigators pulled a large random sample of applications to cross-reference with Social Security databases. What they found was startling. Thousands of mismatches appeared, names not matching the numbers, deceased individuals being listed as recipients, and duplicate identities submitted under slightly altered information. The deeper they looked, the more inconsistencies they found. It wasn't a technical glitch. It was deliberate fraud, executed at a scale few had imagined. Now here's where the implications really hit home. That money could have gone toward actual help, relief for seniors, for disabled Americans, for working families struggling with rising costs. Instead, it vanished. It evaporated into the hands of fraudsters who took advantage of a system that was never built to handle this level of pressure. These were funds that could have supported those who truly needed assistance, people who waited patiently, filled out paperwork properly, and were told there wasn't enough support left to go around. Meanwhile, the money was already gone. And make no mistake, this isn't just about financial waste. This is about trust. When we pay taxes, we assume that money is being used for the betterment of society, for schools, healthcare, retirement programs, and support for those in need. When that trust is broken, it affects everyone. Those waiting on delayed checks, those denied benefits due to tightened budgets, those watching prices go up while help becomes harder to access. The consequences go beyond missing money. They erode faith in the very institutions meant to serve the public. You may be wondering how something of this magnitude could go unnoticed for so long. The answer lies in the urgency of the moment. During the crisis, government offices were overwhelmed. Staff were stretched thin, and many systems were outdated, not designed to detect identity fraud on this scale. Some applications were approved automatically, without manual review. In other cases, alerts were ignored or missed due to the sheer volume of requests. By the time red flags were raised, the damage was already done. So what does this mean moving forward? For one, it casts a long shadow over the potential for future relief programs. Anytime large-scale aid is considered again, lawmakers may hesitate. They'll point to this fraud and argue that safeguards weren't strong enough. That delay and caution could make it harder for people to get help quickly in the future, even when it's urgently needed. The victims of this fraud aren't just the taxpayers whose dollars were stolen. They're also the people who might need assistance next time but face longer waits and more scrutiny. It also raises another concern. What happens to those whose personal information was used in this fraud? If someone's Social Security number was stolen and used to claim benefits, that individual could be dealing with the consequences for years. Issues like flagged tax returns, denied applications, and prolonged identity verification processes can follow people long after the initial fraud occurred. And while fraudsters disappear, real people are left cleaning up the mess. Perhaps the most heartbreaking part of this story is how preventable it was. With better systems in place, with more trained staff, and with stronger verification tools, much of this could have been stopped before it began. But because urgency took priority over security, the door was wide open, and opportunists walked right through. And while government officials now say they're working on new protections, the truth is, the damage is done, the funds are gone, and the people who needed them the most never saw a dime. Imagine what could have been done with that kind of support. It could have been used to lower healthcare costs for retirees. It could have extended food assistance to struggling households. It could have gone toward affordable housing for low-income seniors, or provided monthly relief payments to the most vulnerable. Instead, we're left looking back at a missed opportunity and a glaring failure of oversight. This situation should be a wake-up call, not just for policymakers, but for every person who wants to see real accountability in government. When programs this important are mismanaged, the fallout touches everyone. It's not just numbers in a report, it's real people who go without support, while others exploit the system. And unless meaningful changes are made, this could happen again. In the end, what we need is a better balance. We need to be able to act quickly in times of crisis, but not at the cost of security. We need systems that verify, that flag anomalies, and that make sure help reaches those it's truly intended for. And most importantly, we need transparency, because the public deserves to know where their money is going and what happens when it's mishandled. So what's the next step? For investigators, the work continues. Efforts are underway to trace fraud, prosecute offenders, and tighten controls. But for the public, the lesson is already clear. This isn't just a story about lost money. It's about missed chances, it's about priorities, and it's about demanding better from those in charge. Because if we don't hold them accountable now, this kind of loss could happen again, and next time, the stakes might be even higher. This entire situation also opens the door to a deeper conversation about digital infrastructure and data protection. As more government services move online, the risks of identity theft and fraud increase unless serious investments are made in cybersecurity. It's no longer just about sending out checks. It's about protecting the entire pipeline from application to distribution. Public trust can only be rebuilt if the government takes proactive steps to modernize and protect the information of every citizen. That includes using smarter technology, incorporating real-time identity verification tools, and making fraud detection a core function rather than an afterthought. The technology exists, it's time to use it. Ultimately, this scandal wasn't just about what was stolen, it's about what was allowed to happen. And now, millions of Americans are watching closely to see whether those in power will finally take the right steps to ensure this kind of disaster never happens again. As we move forward, the hope is that this mistake will drive meaningful reform. That programs